Today I wear a badge labeled hater, and I wear it with pride. I did not like these. For context, I started my adult reading journey about 1.5 years ago. I always considered myself a reader, but in 2023, I looked at the preceding 5 to 7 years and realized that I had read maybe 3 on the low end, 5 on the high end books in that time. So I got to work immediately, ASAP. Pronto. Now, since that glorious July day when I decided to make reading my entire personality and now my full-time job, God bless, I've been very lucky to have read some stellar books. Okay, some top-notch literature. Books that I would read again and again and again until my final breath. Books that changed the way I saw myself in the mirror. But I can confidently say that in that time, there have also been some misses. And this is not hard to believe because since I've started reading again, I have read over 100 books, which is crazy to think about. How do you go from reading absolutely nothing to reading 100 books in 1.5 years? Crazy, but I did it. Now, I consider a miss to be anything below 3 stars. If it's solidly 3 and above, you're good. If it's below 3, even a 2.85, 2.95, I would not go out of my way to really recommend it to you. Oftentimes, if something is going to be a 1 star, like I can smell the 1 stardom from 67 miles away, I will just DNF it. I used to be very anti-DNF, not for other people but for myself. The idea of not finishing a book that I had bought with my own money made me genuinely sick to my stomach in a way that I can't really describe with words. And yes, it is because I spent money on it, but it's also like, mama didn't raise no quitter. I don't want to say that I'm a quitter, but I'm not gonna waste hours on my life anymore doing that. No. What a waste of time. Like, I genuinely refuse to see books through that I hate that much. Because what the hell is the point? Like, what is the result? Me being pissed off and bitter. And I don't want to enter the world like that. Like, I don't want to be that kind of person. And these 5 books are some books that I probably shouldn't have powered through. I probably should have just let them be. I should have let them shine over there very far away. But the fortunate thing is that I did finish them, so now I can tell you what my opinion is on them. Isn't that so fun? Some of these I genuinely hated them. Very, very, very low rating. Others, I just didn't see the point. Like, everybody was just kind of hooting and hollering about them, and I want to let you know that I'm not hooting and hollering about them. I wouldn't even let out a peep, probably. I wouldn't even let out a whisper. It would just kind of be like air. You know? And if you saw some of my Goodreads ratings for these books in the past year or so, and you're like, Eden, that's not very reflective of what you're saying now, it's because what I'll do is I round up when I'm rating books. So if I read a book and it's 2.75 stars, I'm just gonna plug it in as 3 stars because Goodreads doesn't give you 0.25, 0.5. I'm working on moving towards Fable, okay? So don't hate on me. It's hard to adjust once it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks, but I'm trying. And before I continue this video, if you like these books, that is fine. Like, genuinely speaking, there is nothing wrong with you having a completely different experience with these books than I did. There are some books that I adore. There are some books that I am obsessed with. Like, genuinely, one of my favorite books ever, Beach Read by Emily Henry. Some people think that that book is so boring, but I don't care. I don't care that they think it's boring. I've seen some people have some scathing 1-star reviews of Beach Read. Doesn't affect me. I just want to say that because I just feel like people connect themselves to their favorite things too much, to a point where if somebody is expressing a negative opinion about that thing, they think it's an attack on them, which it's just not. Like, I did not like the book. That's all it is. Period. Moving on. Let's get into the 5 books that you can probably skip and be A-okay. First off, we're gonna start with Powerless by Lauren Roberts. This should not come as a surprise to you if you follow my TikTok. I actually talk quite a bit about how I do not have good opinions about this book. Well, no, I have good opinions, I think. But I don't have favorable thoughts towards this novel here. No. If you love this book, you either need to scroll away now or get on my wavelength just for a second, even if you disagree with me, because this was my least liked out of all of these in this video. And I wanted to start this video off with a bang. So Powerless is about a girl with no powers in the kingdom of Ilia. This kingdom is ruled by the elites. The elites, they have powers, okay? That's what makes them elite. And they have banished people without powers, aka the ordinaries. So Peyton's not supposed to be here, girl. She's not supposed to be here at all. But the way that she's gotten through her life in the slums, because of course she lives in the slums, every FMC in like a YA novel where she's hustling and struggling is from the slums, you know the vibes. She's been hiding the fact that she's powerless. Get it? Because if she doesn't hide it, she's gonna get killed off the show. And her father told her from a young age that if she just like fakes being a psychic, she can survive in this world, because being a psychic, you can kind of just guess things about people and probably be right. I was like, not y'all exposing like the business of psychics. Don't do that. But the way she gets away with being a psychic, like the way that it's written, requires you to suspend your disbelief in a way you never have in your entire life. I just could not, like, I could not get with it. One day she's thrown into this brutal competition called the Purging Trials, where she finds herself in close quarters with the elites. And like I said before, homegirl is not an elite. She's an ordinary. She's ordinary. I'm just an ordinary girl. Sometimes I'm lazy. I get bored. I get scared. I feel ignored. I feel happy. I get silly. I choke on my own word. Hey, yeah, get it. Hey, she's in close quarters with the elites. She has to hide the fact that she's powerless. So this girl is shivering and quaking in her boots. I don't really remember why they picked her for these trials, to be honest. Somehow homegirl ends up in a situation where she has the two princes of Ilya thirsting over her. They call this book like a love triangle, but it's not really a love triangle. Is that a spoiler? I don't care. Listen, I don't care. I don't care. Okay, I do care. No spoilers, no spoilers. I swear, like that's it. But she has these banterful conversations with one of the princes, Kai. You've probably heard about Kai Azar if you're on Book Talk. If you haven't, you're literally, I don't know how you've escaped that. In every single one of their interactions, Kai and Peyton are flirting to the utmost degree. Like they are flirting so much they can't have a regular conversation. Every word that leaves their mouth is meant to be flirtatious. I'm not exaggerating. This book gets a ton of criticism because it has a lot of similarities to Red Queen and The Hunger Games, and some people were saying Shatter Me. I have only read the first Shatter Me book, so I don't really know if that's true. At first I wasn't really mad about these similarities, despite me being like the biggest Hunger Games lover on the planet, in this galaxy, in the universe. But as I kept reading and as I kept thinking about the book after I finished reading it, I simply could not overlook some of these similarities. Again, I don't want to spoil anything, but some things felt like direct suck them out of this story and put them into hers. And to prove I'm not a hater just for hater's sake, I DNF'd a book called Trials of the Sun Queen for this exact same reason. Like I just could not get into it. That was also a romantasy book. So get off my back. Okay, I'm fair. If I'm one thing, I'm fair. Sure, Powerless is not unique by any stretch of the imagination, but I also could not connect with the characters literally at all. If there was something below one-dimensional, that's what those characters would be to me. I really am not trying to like... Girl, I'm trying to find it in myself to be kind. Like, I'm trying to be kind. I'm trying to be kind. You know what? This is my opinion. I'm not going to explain it. Here I am making excuses. Nobody else in the room with me. It's just me. These characters were just so one-dimensional to me. Like, the thing I hate most in a book is when I feel like the characters are a vessel to tell me the story rather than the story being a vessel to tell me about the characters. Let me feel the pain of these characters like they are my peers. I want to be moved. And I just could not get there with anybody in Powerless. Like, not a single soul. I did not like Peyton. I did not like Kai. I did not like whatever the hell the other brother's name was. What was his name? Kit, I think that was his name. Anyway, we're gonna go with Kit. And I think that's because so much energy was expended trying to write quotes in this that would be really good marketing on TikTok. The author kind of just neglected telling you really important details that could help you connect to the characters and their pasts. Like, I didn't know anything about these characters. You obviously learn a little bit about their past, but not enough to actually get me to care about them. Every time they talked, it just sounded like they wanted to get into each other's pants. And this is YA. It felt very useless to me. And on top of that, the trials, I wanted to be sweating. I wanted to be shivering, scared for my life. No fear was instilled in me. No fear was instilled in my heart. I was hoping and praying that it would get suspenseful at some point, but I just knew that Peyton would make it out of every single trial. That's not a spoiler. You literally, like, you know that there are other books. This is in a series. You know that she's gonna be fine at the end of the day, and I don't think it's written in a way that makes you think that it's gonna go any other way. And also the trials just felt really gimmicky to me. It felt like they were just there for trials' sake. I don't even remember what the actual reason for the trials were. And there could have been a true purpose for them, but the fact that I don't remember and I didn't even read this book a year ago says enough about the impact for me. Like, I was not getting with the program, okay? And can we just go back to the banter for a second? Because this really pissed me off. When I first started reading the book, I was was like, okay, this banter's cute. And then after like their second interaction, I wanted it cut off. I wanted it done. I wanted them to actually speak to each other like two human beings who were not obsessed with each other in a romantic sense. And they just could not do it. They could not have, I don't know how to emphasize this to you enough. They could not have a regular conversation. Like, I don't care what anybody says, there is such a thing as too much banter, and this was overkill, like the definition of overkill. I found myself praying for a moment and one singular interaction, let it be literally half a page, where there wasn't forced flirtation. It never came. I was sat there hungry, empty stomach. Needless to say, I did not continue the series, and I will not be continuing the series. I ended up giving this book 2 stars. If I cared enough to go back and change my rating, I would probably give it less. I'm not gonna share what I would give it because I want to keep some semblance of decorum. The next book we have here is Throne of the Fallen by Carrie Maniscalco. Now, I have a very personal experience with this book. Let me tell you a little bit about it. I loved the first third of this book, so much so that I took it upon myself to open my big fat mouth and make a video on TikTok talking about how obsessed I was with the book and like everybody needs to read the book when I hadn't finished it. Like, okay, girl. What was the reason? What was the reason for that? That video garnered a few 100,000 views and hundreds of comments of people telling me that they were going to read the book, that they were so excited, like they were going out to buy it that second, that moment, just for me to read the rest and realize I strongly disliked it. Throne of the Fallen is the first in an adult romance series that is a continuation of the YA series Kingdom of the Wicked. I know some characters are the same, but that's about it because I simply have never read that series before. I didn't even know about it when I bought Throne of the Fallen. I picked up Throne of the Fallen randomly on a Tuesday in Barnes & Noble a little bit after its release, and I was like, okay, this seems cute. Like, it seems like a fun moment. That's not the experience I ended up having. RIP to me. This book is about the Prince of Envy, who I believe is a character that was in Kingdom of the Wicked, if I'm not mistaken. He's this evil but not evil MMC who like one day gets this deadly note that sends him on a journey where he needs to save his demon court. Like, I sound confused explaining it, and I read this whole book front to back. I promise you, I read this whole book front to back. I barely remember the actual plot of it. I still to this day don't even know what was happening for 50% of the book. Anyways, he needs the help of an artist named Camilla, who is somehow connected to this situation, this mission, if you will, and is the only one who can help him get what he needs on his journey through the underworld. So he's one of what are called the princes of hell. So this is like hell, underworld, whatever. You get the vibe. This is an adult romantasy, so obviously Camilla and Envy literally cannot keep their hands off of each other. And this leads me into my main issue with this book. There was so much unnecessary smut in it. I can't even express to you truly with my heart and soul how many unnecessary scenes there were in this book. I simply could not deal. I almost DNF'd it because there was a scene, I can't even remember, it had to do with like a throne or something, and they was just getting crazy on that throne, and I was like, what does this have to do with the plot of the story? Where are we going? Where are we? Where have we been and where are we going? The reason why I loved this book up until the 1/3 mark, and I think that's even me being generous, like I don't even know if I even got that far, is because the tension was just so divine. The tension was so good, and I was like, if this continues, this is gonna be like a top romantasy book for me, because this author, I'll give her credit, she knows how to write tension-filled scenes, especially because the setting of this book is very Bridgerton coded. So if you like Bridgerton, you would probably like this book if like what I'm about to explain to you doesn't annoy you as much as it annoyed me. So I was just so excited. I felt like, oh my god, this is my Bridgerton romantasy that I've been looking for my entire life. Like, where has she been all my life? Where has you been all my life? Just the perfect amount, chef's kiss, bon appetit amount of tension. But then it just kept getting crazy. Like, it just kept getting crazy. I felt like we was rolling around in the sheets when we just did not need to be. Like, the first few scenes were cute. Like, they were good. Like, they felt like really necessary to the like romantic relationship between the two characters. But then I just started getting angry. Like, damn, this is excessive. Some authors use smut as a way to develop a romantic relationship because it may just be the easiest way to explain to the reader that these characters are into each other. But to me, writing those scenes are hard. Like, I feel like that's hard. So why are we choosing to do that rather than have like meaningful conversation? It was confusing me. We could do more things with that space and that time. And trust me, a lot of space and time was used indeed I'm not lying to you. Another thing that kind of bothered me was I went into this series not knowing about its YA predecessor. And typically when I pick up a book that doesn't completely advertise itself as an extension of something else, I've been pleasantly surprised with how well I'm able to understand the setting and the whatever of the story without reading those previous books. But with this, I think the reason why I was confused is because I just did not read the other series, and that's actually pretty essential to understand what's going on here. Maybe it was just me. Like, that could just be me being picky. I'm gonna be honest, it really could. I really felt like I needed that context. I gave this book 2.75 stars. I think I officially rated it a 3, but now you know how I really feel. Book number 3 is Caraval by Stephanie Garber. I'm sorry, I truly am. And listen, this is one of the better ones in this video. I don't have the hate instilled in my heart for this book the way that I do some of the others in this video, but like, please come to the front of the class. Like, genuinely, please come to the front of the class. I have a question. Why is this advertised as like a book talk best? Why is this advertised as one of the best like YA fantasy book talk books? Because there are so many books that I've gotten from book talk that are YA fantasies, and they've blown my mind. Like, they've blown me away. And this was not one of them. And this is one of those books that when you say you like fantasy and you're new to book talk, people will recommend this to you. I'm not really understanding. I'm not. Caraval follows a girl named Scarlett who lives on this isolated island with her rebellious sister Tella and her very much cruel, evil, literally awful father. Since she was a wee youngin', Scarlett has dreamt of going to Caraval, which is this yearly performance where audience members are active participants in this show. So like, literally just think a carnival where you as the guest are included in the shenanigans. But her daddy is literally the worst, and he's forcing her into an arranged marriage. So she thinks this era of her life dreaming to go see Caraval is over because she's about to go ta-ta bye-bye and be somebody's wifey. However, after years of sending letters to the runners of Caraval, she finally receives an invitation. She sneaks away in the dead of night to go to this show, but pause, because when she gets there, this guy named Legend, he's the guy who runs this whole shindig, he kidnaps her sister, Tella. He kidnaps Tella. And like, apparently the whole vibe of Caraval this year is finding Tella. Very much giving, if you find Tella, you win. So not just Scarlett, but everybody who's attending Caraval this year is tasked with finding Tella. Very much find Tella and your winner chicken dinner. Like, what did my girl Tella do? While participating in this game, you don't really know what's real and not real, which adds to the mystery and suspense of this book and like the whimsical nature of it all. I also forgot to mention that Scarlett brings this guy Julian with her who helps her through this like whole crazy experience. I'm not gonna tell you how he's involved because again, no spoilers. Now my main issue with this book is I was just bored, and I really was not expecting that because again, everybody is shaking you by the shoulders begging you to read this book when you join book talk, and it just was not giving that for me. I felt like when it came to the fantastical elements of this world, I wasn't feeling what the author wanted me to feel. I wasn't feeling what clearly everyone else felt. Everybody was like, Caraval's so magical, like you really feel immersed in the world. I did not really. Similar to Powerless and the Trials, not nearly as bad, but like kind of similar to Powerless and the Trials, I wasn't on the edge of my seat with the games in Caraval. Like these scavenger hunt little boops and bops, like I wasn't feeling it. I guess I'm just trying to say it fell flat for me. The one thing that I did actually really like in this one was the romance. I thought it was done really, really well. That kept me on my toes and was roughly 30% of the reason why I even kept reading. I can't even lie to you. Tella was missing and I didn't really care where she went. I didn't really care where my homegirl Tella was at. No. Like I knew I was supposed to care, but all I cared about was Julian and Scarlett. And can you blame me? I just couldn't get on board with this the way that other people could. And that shocked me because of how hard people ride for this series. And a lot of people recommend you read Caraval before you read the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy. And that's why I got it. I should have known because Caraval doesn't even have a 4-star rating on Goodreads. I also unfortunately bought the box set of the Caraval trilogy. I have Caraval Legendary and Finale. And I don't really have it in me to read the other two. I'm not interested. But I do want to read Once Upon a Broken Heart. And some people say it's necessary. Other people say it's not. I do generally like to have context, but it's really looking like I'm not even gonna read Once Upon a Broken Heart because I don't think I can finish Caraval. Who knows, maybe one day I'll just pick it up and see if I can like get it. But after Throne of the Fallen, I'm a little bit hesitant. Like, I feel like it's hard to write fantasy books that are just continuations of other series or connected to other series because you have to do a really good job of immersing new readers into a world that already exists. Like, you're not really doing the heavy lifting of the world building the way that you are in the original. I gave Caraval 2.75 stars in my heart. It's one of those books that whenever I include it in a TikTok, I'm like, it's okay. Like, I think I dislike it more and more as time goes on. So that's not really fair to the book, I guess. Cause like the further I get away from having actually read it, the less I care about the book. Book number 4, Not Another Love Song by Julie Soto. I should have put armor on before I started filming this video because I know this book has some die-hard stans. And look, I tried. I even have some tabs up on the side of this book. Like, I tried to get into it like you girls did, but it wasn't doing it for me. And I was so disappointed because I read another Julie Soto book maybe a month or two before I read this one, Forget Me Not. And I actually enjoyed that. I believe I gave it 4 stars on Goodreads, maybe even more, maybe like 4.5 stars. So girl, I was sad too. I really wanted to like this. Not Another Love Song is about our girl Gwen Jackson. She's a musical prodigy, but she hustled to be where she is today. She started playing the violin when she was a very young girl, and she's in the Pops Orchestra in New York City with a guy named Xander Thorne. He's also a musical prodigy, but he was born into a family of professional musicians. One day, Gwen is mysteriously offered the role of first chair in the orchestra, and this is like a very sought after position in orchestras. I played the flute for maybe a year, and that's generous. I played the piano for a few years of my life, but that's about it. I don't know much about orchestras, despite having been in them a couple times in my life, which is funny. Anyway, she's offered this role, and Xander is like, why not me? Me better. Me want this. And we're supposed to believe that he like hates her because of this, but he very much doesn't. He very much does not. And he clearly wants to get in her pants. It's written in a way where you can see that their appreciation for each other's talent is the reason why they start to kind of get it on and like each other like that. You know what I mean? But I think they were just into each other from the very beginning. Like, I think that they just wanted to bump and grind from the very beginning. Especially when you're reading a romance book, like, you know where this is going. And in this one, I didn't just know where it was going because it was a romance book. I knew where it was going because I just didn't buy that he hated her. It's kind of one of those things where you just look and you're like, 2 hot people, why no kiss? So in this story, they get increasingly closer and things kind of go from there. One thing that this book is praised for is having really good tension. And this tension is kind of bolstered by using music as a way to color the details of some of these hot and heavy scenes. For example, she'll be like, and the music was crescendoing, but something else was also crescendoing. You know, it was very much staccato, and yeah, we were staccato. Other people love this. A lot of people love this. I think 90% of my mutuals like this book, probably closer to 95. I thought it was corny. And I think the reason why it landed as corny to me is because it kept on happening. If it was just one scene where she was using these musical similes, I could have gotten over it, but it just kept on happening. I just got bored of it. And because this is a very hot and heavy book, those scenes are very pivotal to the story, and once I realized I disliked that, every time it came, I was like, oh, God, here we go again. And I also didn't like Xander at all. I don't need to like characters to continue reading the book. Because this is a romance book, I just felt like I needed to like him to enjoy this book because it's a romance novel and I need to be into this guy to romanticize him, and I couldn't do it. He still felt like a big fat meaty head to me. I don't know. I just wasn't given enough for me to believe that he was likable after being very much not nice at the beginning of the story. It's not that he's actively mean. He's just a grumpy character. I don't like when men are grumpy. If you're gonna do grumpy sunshine, the guy has to be sunshine and the girl has to be grumpy, because why are you so angry as a man? The closest that I can get to a guy being grumpy in a book is being emotionally unavailable. And the only reason I say that is because Augustus Everett, my emotionally unavailable king in Beach Read by Emily Henry, he's the exception. But he's not grumpy. He's just like, he's going through a lot, okay? Anyway, I liked Gwen, but I did not like that man. I also just felt like this book could have been 100 pages shorter and still did what it needed to do. And it's not even that long of a book. It's like 360 some pages. But besides some of the smut scenes being repetitive, the book just felt repetitive to me. I felt like I was reading a lot of the same things over and over and over again in their interactions. So it wasn't cute for me. I guess it wasn't for Eden, and that's okay. Not everything is for me. I wish it was, but it's not. I gave this book 2.5 stars with my chest. Moving on. Lastly, we have The Guest by Emma Cline. I don't think I'm gonna get a lot of pushback for this one, given the fact that its Goodreads rating is like 3 something. Some of my mutuals did really enjoy The Guest, but it was very much crickets for me. The Guest is a literary fiction novel that follows Alex, and she's from New York City. She's spending the summer in Long Island with her super wealthy old boyfriend, but then one day he just randomly is like, can you please get the hell out of my house? Like now, like literally now, here's a ticket, here's a ride to the train station. I need you out this be like yesterday. She's like, huh, where am I gonna go? So we follow her journey of trying to figure out how she's gonna stay on Long Island with nowhere to sleep and a train ticket. That's all she's got. Now you may be wondering, why is she not just getting back home? Why is she not just hopping back on the train and, you know, licking her wounds and realizing that she lost? Well, she's kind of on the run. This guy from back in the city is like hunting her. To survive on the island, Alex has to weasel her way into the lives of the affluent residents of the East End of Long Island. I get what Miss Cline was trying to do here. It's not lost on me what the themes of this book are, but it just felt so repetitive. I got what I needed from Alex's first or second attempt of trying to stay on the island, and then everything after just felt like so like I didn't feel like I was getting anything other than a surface level engagement with the themes of class dynamics and female agency and things like that. It didn't really delve deep into those themes. It felt very much like we were just scratching the surface. I think this is also just because Alex's character was someone I really struggled with a lot. I had a very difficult time connecting with her, and I'm not one of those people that needs to like a main character to like the book, but Alex was just bland. Like, come on girl, give us nothing. At times I sympathized with her. At other times I was like, girl, you are a downright villain. Like, you are a true villain. Nobody can save you from yourself. At some points nothing could convince me that this girl was a decent human being in any way, shape, or form. I just needed more. I needed more from her. And I think that's why the rating for this book is so low. If I had to guess, I genuinely think it's because with lit fic, you are supposed to be getting such a good character analysis. The characters carry the story. This felt like a lit fic book that wasn't plot driven and also wasn't that character driven. I gave this book 2.5 stars. Alex, hope you're doing good. That's it for today's video. It felt good to get some of that off my chest. In the past, I had shied away from making entire videos about books that I didn't like. I never shied away from sharing my opinion, don't play. But doing a whole video like this just made me nervous because I didn't want to come across as being a hater, but now I'm literally unsubscribing to that way of thinking. I say I'm a hater as a joke, but I am allowed to say when I don't like something. Like, I'm allowed to just completely and utterly say, this was not good to me. So now I'm doing that. And it feels therapeutic. Yes, my opinions on books change. I would never purposefully lead people astray. That's something I'm realizing in my reading journey. I'm gonna say I liked something and then look back on it and be like, wait, no, I actually really didn't like that. I'm really excited to see what the rest of my journey as a reader looks like throughout my life. My taste has already changed so much in the past year, so I can definitely see it changing a lot in the future. And I'm most of all excited to share my thoughts and opinions with all of you. So thanks for watching today's video, and I hope you enjoyed. I hope I didn't ruffle any feathers. If I did, girl, that's really not my problem. TBH. Thank you for watching today's video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!